we got Hyperfly. We covered this story, but as always, got to go back. There's always something new. You guys always starting some drama. I'm not saying Hyperfly. I'm saying all the people in the community. So let me just read through everything, guys. First thing in the morning, start reading. It says, when we announced our collaboration with Playboy, I want you to know it came from a place of good intention. I don't know. Some of my friends said they did this on purpose, but we'll keep reading. It says, I want you to know it came from a place of good intention. As a woman and the CEO of this brand, I didn't know they were ran by a female or woman. Sorry. That's good to know. So as a woman and the CEO of this brand, I truly believed there was an opportunity to rewrite a narrative, to reclaim something controversial and reshape it into a platform for strength, self-expression, and empowerment. I saw the potential to challenge old perceptions. Oof, that was a big undertaking, very big undertaking. You know, Playboy has a long history, very, very long history. Yeah, oof. Together with Playboy, we had planned to host women's self-defense seminar and launch a Playboy Fight Club series featuring powerful women fighters, amplifying their voices and showing the world the strength, skill, and stories that often go unseen. We aligned with what we believed was a new chapter for Playboy, one now driven by women with a mission of pleasure for all. Oh, Jesus. Inclusive and empowering. Oh, whenever I make comments, they say I'm a misogynist. I just don't see why they did this. And they're trying to explain it. They should have stopped at the first post they had. That was decent. The first post they had was decent. We call this digging a hole. So Cousin Tony can tell you guys about digging a hole when you need to stop, but someone keeps digging. They keep digging too far. Yeah, oof. Pleasure for all. What is that? What does that got to do with jiu-jitsu? What is that? Why they got to be in jiu-jitsu? But the truth is, no matter how positive our intentions were, we misjudged. We didn't stop long enough to fully understand how the history of that brand still affects so many. Bro, I don't know what to say, Hyperfly. You didn't know? You didn't know about that? I mean, some things you gotta let go, bro. I would have rebranded. I understand there's value in using brands, but I mean, I think they're doing too much. They could have started a whole different brand than sticking with the Playboy brand. And then Hyperfly, I don't know. But the truth is, no matter how positive our intentions were, we misjudged. We didn't stop long enough to fully understand how the history of that brand still affects so many, especially women in our own jiu-jitsu community. And for that, I am truly sorry. So this tends to happen when you're not connected to your community. When you're on top looking down, that's kind of what happens when you make these decisions. I mean, there's definitely, we're going to read some comments. There's definitely some ladies that were in support of this. I don't know if they're the best role models, though. Are they the best role models? Some of these ladies, like, yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't listen or follow them. What do you guys think? I've kind of beaten this dead horse, this horse dead too many times. But controversy is always alive in this sport. I think it was a terrible call, but I'm not the CEO. What do I know? I'm just a random dude on the internet. It says, I've read your comments. I've sat with the pain, the disappointment, the anger, and as hard as it's been to take it in, it's even harder. Pause on that. Pause on that. It's even hard. I'm trying to be serious, guys. It's even harder to know that something we did made anyone in this community feel unseen or unsafe. Therefore, we are stepping away from this collaboration. Before they paused it, so I guess now they're stepping away. I want you to know it's not because we're afraid of criticism. It's because we heard you. because you matter to us, because you are the reason behind the reason this brand exists. We take this moment as a chance to do better, not just in how we move forward as a brand, but in how we continue to protect and uplift those who make up this powerful community. This has opened up conversations that we needed to have. It made clear that many women still don't feel fully seen, supported, or safe in this space. Whew, bro, first thing in the morning, I got to read this. Hyperfly has always stood for something bigger than gear. We stand for heart. You can't teach resilience. Isn't that their tagline? We stand for heart, for resilience, for those who fight every day for space, respect, and recognition. Supporting women in jiu-jitsu is not a campaign for us. It's our core. To every woman who spoke up, who reached out, who shared your pain and disappointment, I see you, I hear you, and I'm grateful for your honesty, your courage, and your care for this community. Thank you for holding us accountable. Thank you for still believing that we can grow. Much love. Kristen Pacter, CEO and COF of Hyperfly. Yeah. What do you guys think? I think I've made my point kind of clear. I'm kind of tired of this. Why did they have to repost this? I guess they wanted to do a better explanation. I mean, sometimes you don't need to explain. We don't explain. just stop doing it. Just stop doing what you're doing. I don't know, man. Let's read a couple comments. I see some long comments, bro. I'll try to read some of them, guys. I ain't gonna read all of them. Let's look over here. That wasn't too many. Let's see what people got to say. It says, can somebody tell me what happened? So this dude definitely not on the internet. He might be a bot. So when you're reading comments, try not to get too upset. I'm telling myself that too. Sometimes these aren't real people. It says it doesn't matter. Actually, didn't come on. Dang it. Jesus Christ. That's 26 comments. Someone says, if it didn't matter, then you wouldn't have commented. Unless you're fresh out of attention and dopamine, then okay, sure, you got me. I gotta make sure I read some of this before I say it. They announced a collab with Playboy, then everyone started to cry. Thank you. Combat equipment company put on zero fight. How ironic. Oh, that's kind of funny. Combat equipment company put up zero fight. How ironic. That was pretty funny. I like that one. Sure, they decided to make Playboy a Playboy collab inspired gi. Then a small percentage of PC babies cried about it. It wasn't small that they had to, the next day they had to do this post here. And I mean, it for sure this person wouldn't be buying that gi. Some people just want to see the world burn, so they're just gonna troll. PC babies cried about it, so now they're trying to save face by catering to the 0.01% of people who complained and completely undermining the 99.99% of people who thought this was a good collab. I think that's a terrible take. Sometimes I like to click and see if these people are real. Look at this dude. Hey, he's a blue belt. Hey, yo, shut up, blue belt. Shut up, blue belt. You guys can't see it. Shut up, blue belt. Yo, blue belts be the most vocal people. I didn't mean to expose that guy. Don't go trolling that dude. Don't go trolling him. I just wanted to see if he was a real person. Yeah. I ain't gonna listen to that blue belt dude. I ain't listening to that dude. I mean, you guys can listen to him. They're the most vocal people. Old people and blue belt guys with like one stripe. No stripes. People get offended easily these days. I mean, if anything, they're telling you, hey, we ain't gonna support your brand if you do this this collab. Which sounds fair, right? We don't have to buy their gear. We don't have to purchase their their products. Your assumption that the majority of people agree with your opinion is exactly why your opinion doesn't matter. Someone says if it didn't matter, you wouldn't have commented. They're just arguing. Hyperfly has done more for women in jiu-jitsu than most brands will ever. Whoa. Hey, you don't know every brand. Do you know every brand that's been around and worked with the women athletes? You can't say that. You consistently sponsor a strong, diverse team of female athletes, not just one or two for show. Hyperfly backed me through 2 pregnancies, injuries, and my entire journey since 2016. That's not just business, that's loyalty and real support. This recent collab with Playboy has sparked opinions, but let's not forget a collab with a legacy brand like Playboy doesn't erase years of consistent support for women in this sport. No, but it does blemish it. It doesn't diminish the integrity or values of a company that's been here for us all along. No, but it does make me question their integrity and values. Let's not confuse aesthetics. Let's not confuse aesthetics with disrespect. Empowerment looks different to different people, and that's okay. Hyperfly stands for you can't teach heart. That's not just a slogan, it's culture, one I'm proud to be a part of. Well, listen here. Everybody makes missteps, even companies. And if the customers can't, push back against these brands, what's the point? The owner, I guess the CEO kind of liked her comment, left a little heart. The girl says, "You're amazing, supporting the female athletes. I know you. Maybe that's why I never felt any disrespect with the collab." Well, you know her, but we don't know her. Everyone can't know the CEO on a personal level. I'm always like, where was that girl's video? People are so outspoken. Where was her video? Supporting Hyperfly, or making it known. It's easy to make a comment, but I feel like when you do a video and put your face out there, like I be doing, that's when it gets real. People be commenting and arguing with you. Well, the CEO, it's more so sparking curiosity than questioning her integrity. Well, I don't know the CEO, so I'm questioning her integrity. I think Hyperfly only needs to listen to feedback from strong, positive ambassadors of the brand like yourself. Well, I already started off saying that I didn't like the take of some of the ambassadors, some of the athletes. They're sometimes you can be in that echo chamber, and then the CEO, everyone's agreeing with the CEO. Of course, everyone's agreeing with the person paying them and sponsoring them. But it's important to have that outside view, I believe, because that echo chamber, man, that can backfire. I mean, obviously it backfired here. She thought this was a great idea. She thought this was a good idea. The other girls were like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be amazing." But my thoughts are, where was Playboy in the other female-led sports? I don't see them in the other sports. I'm not saying that was a red flag for me, but I didn't see them in other sports, other female sports that are even more popular than jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe she was trying to do something different, but listen. I think Hyperfly only needs to listen to feedback from strong, positive ambassadors of the brand like yourself. People are often quick to criticize before fully understanding something. Well, people understood Playboy. Well, they understood the history of Playboy. Isn't that up to Playboy to educate people on their new path? I mean, if the majority it's not a public company, but it's a well-known brand, so it's up to them to change. It's hard to change your image, your brand image, let alone your image. So that's more on Playboy. So they should have done the work before reaching out to jiu-jitsu. I think maybe they were rushing things, and And I'm all for letting Playboy let that brand die. I'm not saying I don't want anybody to die, but it would be okay for that brand to die. It's okay for that old history to kind of go away. We can just start a new brand that's embraces all the things they want it to embrace. We don't need to repurpose the Playboy brand. I think you should have let that go of Hugh Hefner, bro. That's how I feel. But you guys attack me in the comments all the time. So at the same time, I don't think the brand should fold because of a few negative comments. It was a lot of negative. I don't say negative. There was a lot of pushback. Be true to who you are and what you represent. Be unapologetically so. Well, she's the CEO of a company. Say she just goes off the rails. You lose your customer base. Business goes down. The business is in jeopardy. So they can't always do that kind of stuff. Some of these, if they don't got a profile picture, I'm thinking that's a troll or a bot or something. Whoever knows you and Hyperfly knew since the beginning that there was for sure an amazing plan and only good intentions. Well, when you're branding and marketing, you got to educate. You're educating your customers. You're educating people that don't know that stuff. So that was not a good move. It was not a good move. Obviously, they thought they could explain it. It's kind of hard to explain things after the ball started rolling. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you explain that one. They need a PR person. Yo, who's your PR person, Hyperfly? You guys got a PR person over there? I was for sure there was an amazing plan and only good intentions. At the same time, thank you for hearing many of the women that spoke about how they felt, and especially thank you for taking action. You are amazing. Yeah, I didn't like the take of some of these athletes. Obviously, they're being paid. Like they're being sponsored. They're being paid by this company. So, they're not going to speak up. They're going to just go with whatever the CEO was saying. Yeah, like disagreeing, I think. When I started representing Hyperfly, the main reason was precisely inclusion, feeling that regardless of my physical shape, I am still accepted. I don't need to fit society's standards to represent the brand. This made me admire Hyperfly even more. Anyone who knows the brand knows how hard the owner promotes women. The entire Fly Girl collection to make us feminine in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I mean, this kind of shows you that one misstep can kind of leave a blemish on your brand and your all the good things they've done. It kind of starts to overshadow all the good things they've done. As a brand that champions women and a team of all women sponsored athletes, we believe that there's so much that Hyperfly has done for women in the past. Mistakes happen when you listen. When you listen, we see the intention. We believe there's more to be done in the community, and let's not stop creating safe spaces and building more for women and men to grow the sport together. Love always. Again, who let this get greenlit? What echo chamber allowed this to happen? I am truly moved by your post after the first slide. I can see where you had your heart, and that explanation really helps me as a master's and mom understand. Thank you for continuing to consider your comments and community. It takes true courage and humility to admit we missed the mark. I salute you. Bro, I could have helped them with that. I could have looked at that in 5 seconds. Hey, I don't know about that. Yeah. Hindsight. Sad that cancel culture is such a big thing now. There's plenty of things I don't like, and I just move on with my life. Yeah, but when it's something you care about, jiu-jitsu is a close-knit community, so people really care about this community. And they're gonna leave comments, they're gonna react, they're gonna make videos like I'm making, they're gonna do all this other stuff. obviously when you don't care, when you don't care, you're not gonna make comments. You're not gonna make videos. You're not gonna do anything. Someone says, I never said I didn't like it. Amen. So move on now. Women didn't want this. Move on. It's not about you. Let's see. Danny Choppa, what's up? More Hyperfly. Hey, bro, I can't get away. I'm trying to get away from this. They keep pulling me back in. Hey, they keep pulling me back in. Yeah, too much Hyperfly. Why Playboy for a collab, though? Who? I think is, I don't know. This makes me think about some of the athletes, some of these athletes, myself included, you got to do your research on these athletes and, don't just listen to everything they say. I try to rely on facts. I sit here and read all the comments. I'm trying to get a different voices, different views and different opinions, even if I don't agree with them. Like there are other better brand collabs than that would have been better. Yeah, anything would have been better and even look better. Yeah. Playboy just feels out of place in jiu-jitsu, honestly, politics aside. Yeah. I didn't see Playboy with any other sports. I didn't see them with any other more popular sports, but then they're coming to jiu-jitsu. I don't know. I understand they were trying to do something different, but I say let the Playboy brand die. Let it go. Go ahead and bury it with Hugh Hefner. Go ahead and let it go, guys. We can start new brands. I mean, obviously, it has recognition. It's infamous. It's not famous. It's infamous. Let's see. Hopefully, I'm tired of these comments. You did a great job at handling this whole collaboration with respect and grace. I just don't think Playboy has done enough to evolve from what they've chosen to represent for years. They're just not there yet. Don't stop being a visionary. Keep being open to feedback. You're doing the right things. Yeah, what did Playboy do to change their image? I had no idea about Playboy. I don't follow that smut. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Nelson, if you're watching this, Nelson, that's not the... my boy Nelson tried to come to Atlanta. A little sketchy area. I'm trying to save Nelson from going to the wrong area. My man Nelson tried to go to Centennial Olympic Park. Listen, a little sketchy over there, bro. You can't stay everywhere in Atlanta, bro. Nelson. Nelson, did you already book that? Oh, Nelson booked it. Nelson, I'm talking about you live. Let me leave a comment. Nelson, I'm talking about you live. Nelson. Yo, if you're out there watching, please pray for my man, Nelson. Listen, if you come to Atlanta, bro, you can't stay everywhere in Atlanta. Talk to me. Talk to me first. Nelson. Nelson, no, Nelson. Listen, guys, jiu-jitsu don't work in Atlanta, bro. Don't use your jiu-jitsu in Atlanta. It don't work. They gonna shoot you or stab you. Jiu-jitsu don't work, bro. Oh, no, Nelson. Oh, man. Guys, say a little prayer for Nelson for me. Where were we? Yeah, Playboy. Yeah, I don't know, Playboy. I mean, I can make a video about it. I wish I could make videos about jiu-jitsu and not this crap. Someone says, I'm crying. Thank you for this. I cannot begin to express how important this is. Somebody's bringing up Craig Jones. You know what you must do. B Team and Playboy collab. I mean, B Team can do it. Double standard there, but B Team is not for empowering women. B Team, they be what's the word? They be exploiting themselves. Craig Jones be exploiting himself. But you already know Craig Jones not a role model. If Craig Jones is your role model, you need to question your life, your life decisions. You need to, you need to question what you're doing in your life. I can't help you, bro. If Craig Jones is your role model, if you're doing exactly what Craig Jones is doing, well, one, you probably not gonna live that long if you do what Craig Jones is doing. Let's see. Craig ain't commented on none of this. He busy. Yeah, it would be beautiful to see a lot of men wearing gis with the Playboy bunny on them. Best of luck to not be mocked by your mates, just as women would be if this collab went on. Just let everyone know that what you want for women in jiu-jitsu is to, I'm not reading that part, not for them to be heard and respected. Yeah, I mean, Craig Jones be sexualizing himself. Oh no, what's going on with this sport, guys? We want jiu-jitsu to be, a professional sport, but you got Hyperfly over here with Playboy. You got Craig Jones and whatever he's doing. I don't know. I don't know what our brand image in jiu-jitsu is. It's all over the place. I don't know what the future is going to hold. But you guys love this stuff. You love this drama. You love what Craig Jones does. You love what Gordon Ryan does. You love what all these crazy people be doing, and that's reflective of the sport. That is reflective of the sport. I already read all this stuff before. What's Nelson saying? Nelson, I'll look at it in a second, Nelson. Someone says, well, that's an interesting theory, and I respect it. And see you. You wouldn't want to wear it. Counter theory. Craig Jones has the shirt that says Keep Jiu-Jitsu LGBTQ and rainbow tie-dye. There's larger amount of people who don't take themselves that seriously and would wear a Playboy bunny rash guard, and their friends would laugh and then go back to working on their skills in class. Well, they're talking about being empowering. Is making jokes like Craig Jones doing, is that empowering? I don't. But that's on brand for him though, right? Craig Jones can do that because that's what you expect from him. Hyperfly got pushed back because they're talking about empowering women, but then they partnered with Playboy when they could have partnered with anybody else, and it would have worked really well. Well, we're talking about them, so I guess that's good. I'm wasting my time I want to watch some jiu-jitsu matches. I don't want to talk about this stuff. Let's see. I'm glad to see this. My personal brand is that of a kids coach and women's empowerment. I've faced being overly sexualized many times and felt this collab was a giant step backwards. I'm still relieved to see Hyperfly step away from it and to be so vocal in their choice and their why. It's empowering to have our voices heard and have something done about it. Yeah, I mean, that's important because, a lot of the, just there's normal women that support Hyperfly. They're teaching kids classes. They're teaching classes. They can't be wearing the Playboy bunny. What? I know the CEO is trying to explain it, but say like a parent coming into the class, the female instructor has got a Playboy bunny on her gi. I mean, you think the parent's going to take their time to understand and ask about what that means and represents? No, they're going to walk right back out the door. They're going to take their kid, hey, let's go to Gracie University. Let's go to Gracie Baja instead. Gracie Baja ain't going to ever put nothing like that on there. Yeah. And, and if you got your kids around Craig Jones, I mean, that's your fault. Yo, that's on you. If you got your kid's at B team, yeah, if your kids are at B team, yeah, I don't know. When is Nelson, when you getting here, bro? I think tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow. I'll see. I got Panda. We got the big Panda coming through. If you guys don't want to support Hyperfly, go support Inverted Gear. We also had a women CEO. I'm not sure what Hillary's her title is. Let's say CEO and CFO, just like this lady. And they don't put Playboy bunnies on their geese. They put pandas. Offer code ALEC, guys. You know the drill. Go get yourself a gi. Go get some no gi. So let's go to Reddit too, because you guys love this stuff. Let's go ahead and torture myself even more. We're going to go to Reddit, and of course, they got 180 comments. Danny says, wait, does B Team have a kids class? I hope not. I hope they help. Are they allowed to be around kids? Oh, no. I mean, they're going to be good at jiu-jitsu. I don't know what else. They definitely going to have some issues, though, training a B Team. Nah, some of the B Team guys, okay. They okay. They a little wild, but they okay. Jason Whitfield, no kids classes at B Team yet. Give it some time, Jason Whitfield. Craig's, what's the, like the kids class, like little ninjas, little eagles, little Craig's, the little Craig's class, the little Joneses. What's the name? The little bullies class. Yeah, that's a good one. B Team Bulls, little bullies class. Yo, they need some revenue sources too, bro. That YouTube ain't paying them everything. Someone says, I always forget that Playboy still exists. Why does it exist? And why are they trying to rebrand it? I like marketing. I'm not a marketing person, but I just don't understand. Someone says it hasn't existed in print since 2020, but it relaunched this February. And they were trying to do a collab in jiu-jitsu in March and April. Yo, she should have let them do their magic. Let them, clean up their image and take over that whole brand and then start working with Playboy. Yeah, since February, there's no time for them to change all that stuff. There's no time for them to like rebrand and change. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Venom teamed up with Angry Birds, and that was awkward for a bit, but this one takes the cake. Yeah, Angry Birds way better than Playboy. Yo. Someone says I missed that one. Wait, how did I miss that? Bring it back. But why is nobody collab with Pokemon? Yo, Hyperfly. You should have worked with Pokemon. Hyperfly. No. It's kind of funny because I'm from the 90s, 80s, 90s, but I remember, Pokemon was kind of like vilified for a bit. You remember growing up and they're like, those little demons. But now it's cool. A Pokemon collab would have done more for Hyperfly than Playboy ever could. Yeah, man, that would have been cool. Yeah, Pokemon collab. Bro, there's a lot of Pokemon people, Pokemon fans in jiu-jitsu. Shout out to Diego. Shout out to Wendy. Shout out to Evan. Yo, Quan. Rich homie Quan. What up, Rich homie Quan? He says the reason B Team works is that they make fun of the classical jiu-jitsu masculinity by saying keep jiu-jitsu LGBTQ and also trolling the traditional worship culture. That is true. But you understand that, Rich homie Quan. Think about the regular people, the white belts, the blue belts. They don't know. They just blindly following. I mean, yeah, nobody takes B Team. Sorry, B Team. We don't really take you seriously. But that's their brand, It's like these young dudes having fun, doing crazy stuff. But Hyperfly, was coming from the angle of we're empowering women, so let's work with Playboy. So because it clashed with what they were doing, that's why there's so much backlash, right? But if it was in line with their brand, which kind of what Rich Homie Quan is saying, it would be okay. I mean, I don't suggest they change their brand to fit into the Playboy mold. Seems like that's a can of worms. I would not start that. Let's see. Danny Choppa says, well, Angry Birds is marketable to kids. Venom is in the clear. Yeah. I don't know who Hyperfly is marketing to. I think just women, younger women, probably like 18 to 25 maybe. That's a small, very small subset of jiu-jitsu practitioners. And you don't want to alienate that's a small, it's a small group, and it's already kind of like volatile anyway. It's kind of, kind of goes up, goes down. Yeah, I don't know who thought that was okay. And then you had little kids in that Playboy bunny thing, bro. Jesus, that would have been wild. Oh no. Jason says, you're right, though. B Team originally said no white belt classes. Then they realized they were missing out on a lot of income. So kids' classes are definitely an option. I mean, every other martial art, they got a ton of kids. And, you want your school to be viable. You do kids' class. The little bullies class, the little Craig's class. with the rainbow rash guards and OnlyFans rash guards. But I assure you, Jason, when they do the kids class, they're gonna clean up their image. I bet you. Yo, Craig, listen, we're trying to start that kids class. Can you tone it down a little bit? Can you guys put some shirts on, put some tops on? Hey man, you guys can't curse. Once you start having kids and more beginners, you can't be doing all that wild stuff, bro. It's not good for business. Yeah. I mean, what school can rely on just having competitors? AOJ has a ton of kids. AOJ's all kids. All kids. Kids move from Brazil to AOJ. I think Cole, he's from Texas or somewhere. He moved from Texas. I think his family's rich. I think he was flying to California all the time before he moved there. Heck, I knew of a kid, story time. I knew of a kid, I won't tell his name, but he moved to go train to AOJ from a different country. And I think he was living at the airport. He would live at the airport and then go to train and then drive back to the airport and chill there, or get a ride to the airport and stay there at the airport. Man, people, bro. Yeah, so the kids, that's where your future athletes are going to come from, your future champions. Think of the Rotullo twins, basically anybody winning now. Tynan, Mika, they all started in those kids programs. They were all in those kids programs. So, if B Team's smart, they will add a kids program, but they'll have to start cleaning up their image. Let's see. I always find it worse than whatever everyone was crying about in the first place, but I'm a cynical person. Cynicism is dead. The current state of the world is the cynical state. Well, that got dark. More like we realize our customers don't want to be a part of this, and we will lose money on this in the long run. Yes, they're going to lose money. I mean, I can't buy their stuff anyway. I'm sponsored by Inverted Gear. But I have friends, I would tell friends to buy Hyperfly. I had friends wearing Hyperfly. They probably wouldn't buy no more Hyperfly after that collab, though. So they said, ouch, my wallet. Yeah, that's where you hurt. That's how you hurt businesses, bro. You hit their wallet. Someone says, thanks for holding us accountable. If you actually believed in the first place in that, tell people to mess off with their opinions. She's absolutely going to take a literal shower after posting this to wash the ick of having to commune with the plebs off her skin. Yeah. Oh, I can think of very few products in which collaborating with a porno mag, don't hit me YouTube, is a good idea. I don't buy the whole stick that this was ever about empowerment. Oh, he's saying that, guys. I'm reading. The Playboy bunny has a specific meaning, and I can't imagine a woman wearing it in this sport who wants to be taken seriously. Well, they had a few athletes that were kind of agreeing with it, but I don't think they understood the history of Playboy in America. Maybe Playboy's image is different overseas. I'm not sure, or maybe they don't know about Playboy. But here in America, it was not the best brand. And they just relaunched in February. They had no time to educate people. Playboy relaunched in February to educate. I'm saying they didn't have time to educate us to know any better. We just know about Playboy's, 60-year history before. It's hard to clear 60 years, man. It's hard to clear 60 years. Alexander Costello, what's up, bro? He says, I believe AOJ has a training house. Yeah. Now they do. I'm talking about before that. I'm talking about when they first opened. But now I'm sure they got a ton of money, so they can put that money back into the students and having them together. Shout out to Lloyd Irvin. I mean, not to combine Lloyd Irvin with Playboy and empowerment. That can get kind of messy, but he was the first one to kind of do the training house that I knew of in America. I'm sure other people in Brazil would do one. I believe, not Hyperfly, Dreamart does something similar. Usually the big teams need to have, I'm sure some of the other teams do have a training house, especially in California. It's hard to get housing in California, to afford housing. It's rough. So having that fighter house, that training house really does help. And that comes with challenges, I mentioned Lloyd Irvin. Sometimes you might have some bad seeds, some bad apples in those training houses, and then, it can kind of implode. So hopefully they're doing a good job with that. I'm all over the place, bro. What was I talking about? I'm yapping, bro. Craig Jones' OnlyFans rash guard has got to be one of the best-selling ones in the sport. The Gary Tone and Hugh Hefner one was very popular. Again, they're not focused on empowering. They never said they were empowering women. If anything, Craig Jones exploiting himself. He was doing some stuff on OnlyFans. Not that I follow him on OnlyFans, but he was talking about the things he would do on OnlyFans, and I was like, oof. Mango King says the BJJ formula: train a lot and train with really good people. That helps. That helps. That's because they were done tongue in cheek, fashion to appeal to guys. Yes, that's true. To young guys. Pause. This was done as a serious collab to deal with women. The Hyperfly one. Hyperfly just completely misjudged what the key demographics they were aiming for actually wanted. And I just don't understand how that happened, because again, I understand it's a echo chamber, but I just don't know. They missed the mark, bro. They completely missed that mark. That's because 90% of this sport has the emotional depth of an 8th grader. Maybe a 7th grader, not an 8th grader. And why not make money off us morons? If I wasn't such a moron, I'd do it myself. Someone says we only did it because we thought we would make a lot of money, a bunch of money. That's what every brand does things for. The fact that she's a woman and had this idea is insane. What woman would want to go around the gym wearing a gi with a Playboy logo while rolling with men? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, they did not think that through. We might not sexualize the sport, but people who don't practice do. It's weird. And it seemed like that's what they were aiming for, something with pleasure. Let's go back a little bit. I'd be researching stuff. Is that what she said? Maybe someone else said that. I'm trying to see. So I'll reread what she said just a little bit. Together with Playboy, we had planned to host a global women's self-defense seminars. That's what it says, seminars. Didn't say seminar. And launch a Playboy Fight Club series featuring powerful women fighters, amplifying their voices, and showing the world the strength, skill, and stories that often go unseen. We aligned with what we believed was a new chapter for Playboy, one now driven by women with a mission of pleasure for all, inclusive and empowering. Why was there... So wait, Hyperfly is you can't teach heart, and then they come with Playboy, which is pleasure for all. And I'm asking, why was pleasure... Why? I don't want no pleasure. Yo, don't be pleasuring yourself to me while we're training jiu-jitsu, guys. Oh, no. I don't want no pleasure in jiu-jitsu, bro. Please keep that away. We got enough weirdos, bro. We got enough weirdos out here. Yeah, why? That whole tagline didn't work. Yo, what was about to happen? Quan, what you say, bro? Quan says, B team loves to self-depreciate. That way you can't really make fun of them or hurt them with arguments as they already do it to themselves. Yeah, well, they did all the work for you. They did all the work for us. Allows them to be controversial without the repercussions. And that's cool when you're young, right, Rich Homie Quan? But I think, you hit about 30, 40, you're like, dang, I really want some respect now. I actually want people to listen to what I got to say and take me seriously. You can fall into that rabbit hole, to reference Playboy. You can fall into that rabbit hole where for them it's going to be hard to change that when they get older. Like, dude, I'm 30 and they're still making jokes about that stuff that I did when I was 20 years old. Dang it. Hyperfly doing the Playboy thing, they might have thought was women empowering, but whoever thought that might have also thought OnlyFans is also women empowerment. Yeah, well, that's true. I actually would have taken the OnlyFans over the Playboy. You could actually have that argument for OnlyFans, but Playboy, with their month of rebranding, I don't know, it was not cooked up, wasn't cooked enough. Yeah, OnlyFans, you could actually, I would actually listen to that argument, Rich Homie Quan. I would actually listen to that. And heck, a lot of those Hyperfly girls probably own OnlyFans. Oh no. Don't come at me, guys. Don't come at me. Let's see. What woman would want to wear the gym? What woman would want to go around the gym wearing a gi with a Playboy logo while rolling with men? We might not sexualize the sport, but people who don't practice do. That is true. Again, we've got enough weirdos in the sport, and then there's the weirdos that are watching our sport. This is a big one. Anytime I see a technique being explained by a woman online, all the non-grapplers in the comment section is, we all know it's all weird and will remain weird and will remain a weird red flag on the brand. Bro, yeah. Well, let's not act too all high and mighty for them, acting like they don't use their. Oh, I'm not reading that. Playboy and the average BJJ woman influencer / public profile both use. I can't read that. You can see it, but I ain't gonna read it. I ain't reading that either. Yeah, I go on Reddit. I can't read half the stuff on Reddit. Please, with taglines like Playboy, Fight Club, and Pleasure for All. Yo, that was me reading that too. They knew what they were doing, and empowering women ain't it. Yeah, that Pleasure for All, I was like, It's frustrating how people haven't done their research into Playboy at all and think the pushback against this collab was solely because of sexualization. Playboy built their brand off abusing women, drugging, SA, and underpaying these women. I feel like it shouldn't be surprising that women don't want to wear something that represents that. And that's been most of the history of Playboy. They're trying to rebrand, they're trying to change that since this year, February of this year, but that's not enough time. It might take a lifetime to erase all that stuff they did before, or they can never do it. Someone says, I'll be waiting for the Hyperfly Lloyd Irvin collab. Oh, Jesus. I shouldn't have brought that up, but yeah. It's especially sad to see prominent female BJJers help advertise this. Yeah, a lot of the girls you guys be following were supporting this. But I think that a lot of that, I mean, obviously, either they didn't know about Playboy, the history of Playboy, they didn't know what Playboy was, or they were just agreeing with the CEO of Hyperfly because she pays their bills, she sponsors them. And usually these BJJ athletes aren't going to push back. We aren't exactly the most educated bunch. we ain't the most educated bunch. Our IQs, I don't know about our IQs either, bro. I don't know. Yo, I don't know, bro. I don't know what we've been, yeah, I don't know. I wonder about some of us guys, myself included. I wonder. So it says, I'm not going to judge them for it. Perhaps they were uneducated on Playboy's history. That's kind of what I just said. Or genuinely believe this collab could be a positive thing for women in the sport. I'm just glad Hyperfly listened to the feedback they got and didn't get overly defensive about it. So it says, I guess, but I knew what kind of company Playboy was when I was 12, and I'm not even 30. Sometimes I wonder if stuff like this is purposeful. That is true. I don't know. It's possible they could have done this on purpose to create outrage and, I don't know, intentionally doing a bad thing so you can get more attention. I don't know if that helps business though. Because a lot of those guys in the comments that were like, I'm supported, blah blah blah. They don't even buy Hyperfly. They don't even train jiu-jitsu probably. Someone says, bring back the Godzilla gi. Playboy controversy. A 2-word Google search would have been enough due diligence to kill this idea. You know what? Maybe they just typed it into ChatGPT or something. Did they do that? The well-known women who either didn't speak up or praise the community for this collab are sponsored by them. Yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good comment. Someone says, the well-known women who either didn't speak up or praise the company for this collab are sponsored by them. Yeah. I mean, what kind of, I don't know. I feel like, say inverted gear, say Nelson, I mean, I don't know how Nelson could get away with this. Say Nelson did something like this. Bro, I'd be like, Nelson, man, Nelson, I don't think that's a good idea, Nelson. You might need to retract that, bro. I feel like Nelson and Hillary, they obviously would not do this. But they have good friends. They got good people around them to be like, hey, guys, that's not a good idea. Go ahead and take that down, bro. So they do a good job of, hearing other voices. It's not really an echo chamber. We'll tell Nelson, hey, Nelson, bro, Nelson, that collab with Playboy ain't a good idea, Nelson. I mean, obviously Hillary would catch him. Hillary, would you let Nelson collab with Playboy? Ain't no way Hillary gonna let a collab with Inverted Gear go. The responses to them making this decision, mainly for men, is honestly disappointing. Has Playboy changed ownership, their mission, and values? Absolutely, and more power to them. Kudos to Hyperfly for trying to collab with them with good intentions, but Playboy has a long dark history that still comes up in people's, pause on what I just said, still comes up in people's mind upon hearing its name. Yeah, basically everybody around the world. Hyperfly listened to their target market, their community, who voiced their concerns with this collab, and it seems that overwhelmingly their market and community is against this collab for various reasons. Not only is it a good business decision, but it's one that shows that they actually care, and that they are willing to admit that they went about it the wrong way. Many other companies can't say that. Is that what she said? Oh, that's one of the comments, I think. It's very disappointing to see comments here and on the post, mainly from men talking about how it's stupid, cowardice, bowing to PC culture, women voicing their concerns, and men, some owners, some coaches, lining up to tell them their concerns are stupid is a very big reason why many women still don't feel welcome, supported in this sport. Y'all need to do better and should be happy that a company actually cares about this particular issue. Exactly. I feel like a lot of people didn't notice this. It was not a unisex gi. This collab was exclusively for female gis, and the target public didn't like it. Even if they kept, it was not going to sell well. I saw a comment saying they're going with Moya instead because Hyperfly is caving to the PC babies, which is weird because I've heard terrible things about Moya's owner. I'd rather support Hyperfly than that. Yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother case. I kind of remember the Moya stuff. We're not going to cover that today, but maybe if you guys let me know in the comments, maybe we could cover something like that. But for now, let's focus on Hyperfly. Oh, Jesus, yeah. I mean, Reddit is not always the most positive place either. Hyperfly gis are super overrated. They're okay. They're okay. I like their belts. And my boy Jared, he was sponsored by them, so I'm sure he likes them too. Some people kind of downing them. That's every you could say something about everybody's gi. I never had a Hyperfly gi, but just a few hours ago saw a video of a competition where one of the guys was wearing their gi and it ripped. It happens, bro. Sometimes you be fighting some strong people and rip your gi. All right, guys, I'm tired of that. Whew. Guys, I spent a whole hour, whole hour talking about Hyperfly. So let's move on, please.